Hi folks, are you having problems with your snowblower as far as effectiveness and ability to do the task at hand when the time is at hand? Well, I've got an old snowblower here that I periodically check over, and believe me, it's old. I've been using this snowblower for 20 years. I'm pretty sure we purchased this in 1994, and that would make it 20 years old this year. It has had numerous upgrades or I should say replacements, to keep it well in shape. I thought I'd just make this video just to show you what those type of replacements should be, because these are the things that make it work. The unit itself starts and runs fine. I don't expect that to continue forever, and I'm not an engine overhauler. But for now, the vital parts, the engine and the bearings that turn the auger here, that doesn't seem to be any problem. It's in very good condition. You can take the bearings out if you disassemble the end here, but we won't get into that on this video. I've never had to touch that. This part of it has never been serviced, and for now, since there's no noise and they turn freely, both ends, I'm not concerned. Things that do wear out, of course, most of you may recognize, are the belts. This is a brand new belt that I got handily over the internet, along with a set of other parts. And the belt is probably the single biggest thing that fails on a snowblower if it's belt driven, because the belt gets stretched over the years, it gets tired, and it doesn't want to grip as well. It's nothing different than any other machinery operated by V-belts. This is a V-belt, and by that I mean, if you look at the inside of it, the actual pulley is shaped somewhat as a V, and the work is done by grabbing the belt on the sides. That's the single biggest part of a V-belt, and that's the letter V as in victory, is that the belt's going to work when this side of it's in good shape. A lot of things happen to belts. I'm going to show you what I found with mine. This belt isn't that old, but it's already failed in a couple places. One of those is right here. As you can see, it cracked, and believe it or not, it was still working. There's at least 2 or 3 cracks on this thing. Shortly it would just snap off, and then you wouldn't have any ability to use the equipment. It would just the functioning part wouldn't turn. The motor would start, but you wouldn't be able to plow through any snow to get it out of the way. Anyhow, that's one thing. The other thing that's important to a snowblower, if you like to keep your feet clean, is the scraper blade. The scraper blade mounts at the bottom down here, and as you can tell by the slots in this thing, it's adjustable. This replacement, and most of them are made this way, is actually two-sided. So when one side wears out, you just turn it around and use the other side. These don't last very long. They get beat up pretty fast. It depends on how level the concrete is that you're using it on, or the asphalt. Concrete would have joints in it like this. And if those joints aren't even, this thing will take a beating. I'm sure you've found that out in doing your driveway if you have a concrete driveway. Anyhow, the blade on this one is worn. It's not even worth adjusting. They can be adjusted. I'm just going to take it off and replace it. I haven't taken that off yet, but it's shot. And you can pretty well tell when it's shot when the snow kicks back on your feet. Anyhow, that's another important part on these type of units. Actually, the most important, I suppose, are these rubber baffles that are attached to the auger. They wear off, and when they wear out, you're not going to get as much snow kick or gathering ability. These were replacements, and probably, depending on what you buy and how much you pay, replacements can vary in quality. At this point, I don't want to spend a lot of money for the manufacturer's replacements. Those are the most expensive, probably the best. It just isn't worth it. this machine could pass on here any time, and even if these last a few years, to me it's worth it, because I wouldn't want to invest a lot of money in this unit. I've already told you how old it is. At times I've also painted, tried to keep the rust from getting hold on this thing. There's other wear areas on here, down here, where the ground or the concrete has just, what you want to call, sanded this steel and weakened it. But for all purposes, it's still pretty much intact. So other than doing a couple other minor maintenance items on this thing, oiling whatever needs to be oiled, checking the handle, I've just shown you the three important parts. As far as the baffles are concerned, you just buy a set of these things. This is what I got. You can put your model number into a search on the internet and come up with this stuff. I know in the past I've actually bought these where the edges were beveled. That's probably the way it should be. These are flat. They say a lot that, you know, it's the thickness that counts, the thickness of the, what basically is tire material, and that's what keeps it, you know, a long life situation, if you call it that. The beveled side of it, I don't know how important that is. If it's beveled, that means the cut would be weaker than the rest of it because it's already been sheared back somewhat, so I wasn't too concerned in buying these. I'll find out when I use it. The hardware, the manufacturer would give you the hardware. That means these bolts that hold this on here. Fortunately, mine are in good shape, and I expect to be able to reuse all the hardware to install this equipment. That would be these bolts, as you see, and also the bolts holding the scraper blade. Those are the ones that are usually pretty rusted. They're underneath here. I'm not going to try to take a picture of them. The bolt heads are up here. The nuts and the shaft of the screw are down below. Those are probably going to be a lot worse off than what's in here. Anyhow, that's what I wanted to point out to you in caring for a snowblower, because I wouldn't want to guess how many people have ditched a snowblower for what would be ordinary maintenance. And nowadays, snowblowers cost twice as much as what this one cost us years ago. And right now, I think it's worth the investment to repair this thing again, which I have done over the years, and keep using it. It does a pretty good job. So if you replace the belt, the scraper blade, and check these baffles, and keep those in order, in good shape, chances are your snowblower will do a good job for you.